Hello and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Spurs Dives TTID. It's a Wednesday because while we've got games, Champions League games on a Tuesday, we will do a Wednesday show, post-match shows on a Wednesday. And once we've won this group, right, and we're top of the league and we've qualified for the next round, we will then revert back to Tuesdays again when we're down to Premier League games only. Well, I've got a great panel for you tonight as usual. And I'll introduce them, then I'll go through the chat. See, we've got 16 viewers watching us. There's a few in the chat. So, a big welcome to Luke Samuels from Spotlight on Spurs. And I've actually forgotten to get your link up. So if you can get it up, post it in the chat, it'd be great. How are you, Luke?
I'm not too bad, mate. Not too bad. You can't be too bad after a Champions League win, can you? Return, nice little win. So, doing all good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. And Brad, a good friend of the show as well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Just a little tired after obviously getting home a bit late from the football last night. So I'm working today at the office rather than working from home, which I'm used to doing normally. But fine.
And Kev Clark, another good friend of the show. We meet at games, like I meet Brad at games as well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. A fleeting meeting yesterday as I was eating the Vaza Rock Hard fish and chips post game. But there we go.
I just wanted to get home after that, you know what I mean, and have a beer indoors because I don't drink at the ground, because I don't want to be going to the toilet every 5 minutes at my age, right? Right, and I'll start with, we'll get into it, and we'll go through the team and the subs, and then I'll go through the comments in the chat channel. So, Luke, what did you make of this team selection?
Yeah, I was expecting a doggy to come in. That was the first one. I was expecting Palhinha to start and probably have 60 minutes, but he's obviously still trying to work out his best players and how often players can play, etc. But I think that having Bergvall and Sarr in the middle together is so dynamic. It gives you so much legs and forward runs. I think it's really good. But as I say, the fullback area, I just think we need to be careful. We can't be playing the same ones week in, week out, starting the same ones week in, week out. So I did expect there to be a change there, but it's pretty much the strongest team we've got at this moment in time. Take out Palhinha and put Palhinha in, take out one of the centre midfielders. But I think it's as strong as you could kind of go for this.
Brad, your take on the lineup?
Yeah, I was expecting Udogie to play as well, just because we don't want to, burn Spence out. And Udogie's a decent player, but maybe he's not quite come back from injury. Maybe he's not 100% fit. But yeah, the team didn't really surprise me. I knew that Bentancur would probably come back in. I knew that Simmons would play. No real surprise there.
Kev, your take on this?
Yeah, my only, because they stick out the team now in bloody numerical order, it takes me forever to actually work out who's playing where. And I completely missed that Palhinha wasn't starting until Ian stuck something up in the chat with it in right, and that was perhaps my only thought was that Palhinha wasn't starting. That was a little bit of a surprise, maybe. But perhaps he'll have a different setups for different teams, only home and away as well. So on the whole, it's a team to expect.
Yeah, I think we can safely say that because Frank played 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 away at Man City, which is his favourite system, he's not going to be worried about playing it anywhere unless we're away at PSG when we play 5 at the back, right? But so I only see him playing 5 at the back or switching to a 5 if we want to see a game out in the last 20 minutes and Danso comes on or something like that. I don't see him. Everyone says he plays it. He doesn't play a regular 5. He didn't at Brentford. But that's on that. Okay, we'll do the subs and we'll go through the chat. Right. Back to you, Luke. Any surprises here for you?
Yeah, Byfield was a surprise considering he played a couple of hours before. But no, again, it's pretty much because of the squad limitations and injuries, etc. You was always expecting that to kind of be the bench. I would like to see a couple more of the youngsters get on, especially if we play in some of the lesser teams at home in the last few minutes. It would be nice for some of the youngsters to get on Byfield. Obviously, Williams, Barnett. Tynan Thompson as well.
Mm.
But yeah, it was expected. As I say, I wasn't expecting any of the young boys that did play to come over and be part of the squad. Good to see.
They played in the 5-3 win over Villarreal, didn't they, in the under-19
Yeah.
Europa League tournament?
Yeah, and they've
Byfield,
made some
for those
adjustments
that
as
don't
well.
know, Byfield's a converted striker to centre back, and he's a lump for his age for someone who's about 17 or 18. But Frank Muscle, when you see him on the bench, it's not bottom there just for numbers. You know, I mean, he's a talent, this kid. He's a talent. I've watched him. But Williams Barnett, you mentioned, I like him. I really. And Tynan Thompson, I see him play one game on the left wing for us, and I said, keep an eye on this kid. I don't know if any of them will ever have a future at Spurs, right? Because one gets through, like does a cane or something. That's like a virtually miracle. But I like Tynan Thompson, or Tynan Thompson, we call him, the left winger, and he's playing for England now. And so is Barnett. And that young England, well, just a little off point a little bit. All the England sides won abroad. The under 21s won their tournament. They won all three of their games. The under 19s beat the Dutch 4-1. And the under 18s went out to Germany. And guess what the score was?
I didn't see it.
Germany 5, England 7.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I posted the highlights for you guys in the WhatsApp groups. You know, I know I bombard people and like my admins, and if you're coming on the show, I'll bombard you if I think we're going to talk about something like so. But yeah, I mean, like kids doing well. I mean, they've
made some changes. They've made some changes to the kickoff times this year. So the kickoff times for the youth league used to be so close to the first team that that would never have been a chance last year. They've now changed it so that if there is that. If you're both playing at home, you have got the ability to be able to move them in, because I think it used to be 5 o'clock, if I remember rightly. They used to get the kickoff games were like 5-3 o'clock, whereas now it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, but I think it's good what we've been doing with M3 specifically, because Mikey Moore never played under 21s football, and that's something often forgot about when Mikey Moore's mentioned about playing against adults and people bigger than him.
He did play under 21 football for us in that successful year.
Not much, so yeah, not much, because he got injured. So he spent. I think he's actually
in that all-concrete season when they won the league and they won. I watched every under 21 game, and he played quite a few games. I'm not going to argue over it's semantics. I mean, it doesn't really matter how many games he played.
Yeah, I think first team and under 21s. I think he's had about 20 appearances in each. So it just tells me that he's a kid that hasn't played up against people bigger and stronger than him that often, because he went from under 18s near enough to first team, whereas Byfield, Williams, Barnett, Thompson, they're all playing under 21 football now, so they're all playing up against people that are 3, 4, 5 years or 3, 4 years older than them. So I think it's good.
Yeah, and they've got to be farmed out because they wouldn't get on the bench. And Junior Byfield would have had to be named in the under 21 list before even if he played the game earlier, he'd have had to be named. So Frank must like him to have named him and not just brought him in. Oh, we need someone, so he must like him. But the other kids, while we're on it, I mean, like Lancashire's smashing it at Oxford, 3 goals in 5 games or something. Luka Vuskovic got done. I mean, Bayern Munich done Hamburg 5-0, and Kane went past him like nothing and scored. And then, like, obviously, Mikey Moore's, I mean, Rangers are in such a fucking shit state up there. Like, he's like, you know, so we see how it works out for him. But for those that are interested, we have this year, thank Christ, we've got a call back on all our loanees in January if we get horrific injuries like we did last year, all the centre backs and that. And I think that's good anyway, especially if clubs we loaning to them aren't giving them game time, then hook them. They'll give them to someone else who needs them. And by January, lots of clubs that are struggling, facing relegation or trying to get promotion out of lower leagues, they'd want our players even more, I would have thought. Right. So anyway, just that. Brad, we're slightly off topic. That's good because we need things to talk about. Right. So substitutes. What did you think?
Well, I mean, we literally the ones that don't get in the first team, isn't it? When you look at the squad. I mean, I looked at. Yeah, I mean, I saw Byfield. Is that Junior? Because I saw it as Junai Byfield. I mean, who's that? Who's that? I wonder.
It is Junai. Yeah.
Right.
With the apostrophes in there as well, right?
Yeah, I'm glad Gray was back on the bench again. Sadly, he didn't come on, as far as I remember. But no, it's. You mentioned Lancashire. Is he at Oxford? I thought it was at West Brom.
That was last year.
Oh, okay. He didn't stay there. Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Well, I mean, he could well be called back in January, because at the moment our strikers don't seem to be doing a lot. But yeah, I mean, I knew that people like Kinski and Austin would be on the bench because for some reason we seem to think we need more than one reserve goalkeeper. Moani I knew would be on the bench and would probably come on for a bit. Yeah.
I'm surprised out of that lot, Kev, that Scarlett hasn't been sent on loan because I like the player. I watched him at 17 and he was out. He was like the best player on the pitch at 22 by far. But he scored a good goal against Shakhtar Donetsk on the fifth goal when Kane scored the fourth, didn't he, on the swivel? He scored against Elfsberg, was it, when Mikey Moore and Ajayi scored as well? So, I mean, he's going to have these players, that most of them, 99.9% of them, are never getting into our first team on a regular basis, but they're going to have good careers.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as everyone said, I mean, the subs were going to be the subs, and a couple of surprises in there maybe. But yeah, Scarlett. I mean, when he's come on, he puts himself about. He's a unit, isn't he? And he knows where the centre of the field is up front because he's always ploughing that furrow when he comes up there. And not every so-called forward we've got sticks in the middle of the park. But Scarlett tends to.
Yeah, he's bulked up as well.
I just wonder whether it's either they couldn't find a loan team for him, or Frank feels he's going to play him at certain games.
This academy trained issue we have, and we only got Austin. I'm wondering if he's just one season away for becoming academy trained. We might hang on to him. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. He's a natural finisher, though. He's a good finisher, but right. I just want to go through the comments and then we'll carry on. See who's in the chat. We've got Spud here. How you doing, Spud? Came with a brace, yeah. Chelsea 3-1. Did it? What? Liverpool late winner again. 3-2 PSG on fire. Yeah, well, they're the best team in the world. I don't care what Chelsea say. Yeah. Football's back, mate. Yeah. Big up Paul G, another friend of the show. Evening, always saying. Graham again, Paul again, Ben, big up. Oh, you saw the Swans there, Ben, does he? He's a Wales beating Forest. Yeah, is it just because of that fat Greek Marinakis that we all love to death? Right, who else? Yeah, Graham, Ben, IG. We are Spurs TV, big up. Jimmy, loads of regulars in here. Robin's going to give you easy goals like you got versus Villa. Yeah. Spud again. John Fitzpatrick saying hello. That's all there's in a moment. But we have got 47 of you viewing us on various platforms. So big up to you. And in the chat, if you've got any questions, get them in. I'm going to try and make this show as interesting as possible after that dirge of a performance yesterday, right, which we will get into any second now. So let me get back to the banners. Game debate. Kev, you was there. Brad was there. I was there. Unfortunately, Luke couldn't make that one. 4 minutes, 1-0, own goal. Bergvall cross. Ball squandered under Junior's body. Ball crosses agonisingly slow over the goal line. Right? I didn't think it was going to roll over. And I'm at the other end of the pitch. I didn't think it was going to roll over the line. I thought it was that pathetic.
Well, we had no idea in the South Stand what the bloody hell was going on, because Bergvall crossed the ball and we all saw Richarlison going for it and we thought the goalkeeper had it, and all of a sudden everyone's jumping around. We couldn't see it, man, but I'm seeing it on the replay though. God, it was. That's the kind of goalie mistake I used to make. But yeah, it was. It was a good enterprising opening, and Bergvall did what he needs to do, didn't he? Surged down there, stuck the crossover, and forced the mistake. So you can't knock it really, but yeah, a bit of a shambles. But as I say,
Brad,
couldn't see a thing from our end of the pitch.
Okay. Brad, where's your seat? I'm high up on the east, right. I'm not far from the South Stand. I'm like one block in, but right up the fifth floor. Like,
yeah, I'm row 14 on the west lower.
All right.
So I'm sort of, I guess, if I look across the pitch, I'm sort of looking about just outside the penalty area. So I'm about that sort of
Where are you when you get to, go on, Carol.
Like I say, I think when Maddison scored that free kick against Villa, I'm sort of more or less opposite where he took it from. So it's a pretty good view. And I have to say, whoever organises those, hold the cards up,
tifos,
absolutely brilliant. Because that was a superb one last night. Yeah, I mean, I can't quite see it because of the angle I'm at. But sometimes I think it's a cockerel, and then you saw it on the screens, and it was amazing. The cockerel even had feathers. It was absolutely incredible.
It was good. It was a good one. I got another blue plastic bag for my collection.
Oh, really?
Luke, where do you normally try and get when you go to games? In the south stand or on the side?
To be honest, I'll take whatever I can get. My uncle, I used to go with my uncle season tickets at the old ground, so we was right along the goal line. But now I just take them wherever I can get.
Okay,
I don't have a
right.
preference.
We'll stay with you because there ain't much to talk about the game, and we're going to talk about individual performances afterwards, like and how the team have performed so far this season. Blah blah blah. And Frank blah blah. So, 30 minutes. Simmons missed time tackle, yellow card. No arguments for this one, no.
Nah, Van der Ven sold him well short with a pass, and it's just it's one of them hospital balls that everyone says. He's already expecting a ball to come to him. So when you look back at it, it was a clear yellow card for me.
Yeah, and I think he was fortunate to stay on the field as well.
Yep, he was. I mean, we were all
he
saying
he wasn't the only one. So we're having a bit of early season luck, I think, in that respect, right? Yeah.
I mean, the referee was a bit slipshod, wasn't he? I mean, he booked 3 of our players in about a space of about 3 or 4 minutes, didn't he? For and not all of those were from what we could tell up where we were, and they didn't book any of them until one of them sized someone down. But I think
the other players, their players.
Yeah, Savvy was. We were all expecting him to get a second yellow. When that one happened over the far side for us.
Brad, and then 3 minutes later, Richarlison missed time tackle on Fife. Good old Yump. I like Fife, and he got a yellow card.
Yeah, I mean, European referees are quite keen at giving out cards, aren't they? Really, I didn't really see anything there last night that was, I sort of flinched at. But the only problem I have is I haven't actually seen the game back on telly, so I'm going by what I'm seeing, and obviously if it's up the other end of the pitch, I can't really see what's going on. I mean, the goal being a very good example. 1 minute it's it's in. So. But yeah.
The first time I've not posted videos of the game. Just no point. No point whatsoever.
No, I don't understand referees at times. You give one decision and then they see something perfectly exactly the same and they don't give a decision. So.
Luke, 15-minute VDV looked good yesterday. Brilliant challenge. 69th minute. First substitution. Polina for Sarr. Udogie and Spence. I thought Polina steadied the ship when he came. We were crap. But I mean, let's be fair, we were rubbish. Yeah. 77th minute. Johnson for Simmons, Marnie for Richardson. And then a minute later, Miani gets himself blocked. I mean, you couldn't make that up, could you? No, we're going to get through the game quickly and talk about individual. 84 VDV blocks Mikatutsi, and he got a yellow card. He was lucky to stay on the field, VDV.
I think it was, yeah.
I think it's where the ball went. Where he's really lucky that the touch went away from goal. So the touch from the striker, instead of going towards the goal, it went more to the corner flag. And if it would have been going towards goal, then I think it would have been a red. But so we did get lucky there.
It did amuse us around our bit where we were, because we had the 2 penalty checks, and the checks were over in about 2 seconds flat. And then this one went on for about 30 seconds, and we're all thinking, "Oh, blimey, it's bound to be a penalty then, isn't it?" Sort of thing. But yeah.
I mean, from my where I sit, I thought the referee had actually pointed to the spot. I thought he'd actually given the penalty. And if it's a penalty, you think, well, yeah, Van der Ven's very lucky to stay on. But yeah, I think that thing about where the ball goes, I mean, that seems to be what makes up the referee's mind on these decisions now. But it's still a moment, even from the free kick, you still had visions of, the last sort of minutes it going in, sort of thing. But we managed to get away with it. Maybe I shouldn't really say this. Maybe we've had a bit of luck this season for a change.
No chance.
In that way, I don't think we had any luck in the game because they were as bad as we were. Right, Luke, can you read anything into these stats while I look at the comments?
I mean, I think it was fairly even. To be honest with you, I think it was a fairly even game. I think we was quite steady. I don't think Vicario had a single shot to save throughout the whole game, and obviously our goal come from a horrendous error from the goalkeeper. So, to be honest, none of the games have really told me anything I didn't already know at the start of the season. I knew that Frank was going to come in and make us a lot more defensively solid. I think individually and as a back four, our defense is very, very good. And then when you add Palhinha into that as well, then you're looking at a good solid unit. My fear was always just whether we would create enough chances. And that was that aligned with exactly what happened yesterday in terms of, and probably all season really. I mean, we're quite dangerous from set pieces, but in terms of open play and creating chances, it's proved difficult. But you've got a lot of different reasons for that at this moment in time, with so many new players coming in, obviously a new structure, a new system. Just hoping that this isn't a blueprint for the whole season, because it could be. Even if there are a few wins in there, a lot more wins than last year, it still could be a little bit of a drag season that we was all moaning about last year in terms of entertainment. It could also be a very similar thing this year. But let's hope that it's just a little bit of people getting used to each other, relationship building, and being able to play a little bit more with each other, and then things will start from there.
Brad, the tackles won 82% to 71%, and the clearances. I mean, we are definitely a lot tighter defensively, even though.
Well, I mean, the thing is, my friend who Adrian, was incredibly upset at the end of the game. He was livid. My attitude wasn't a good performance, wasn't a good game, but it's 3 points. You need to win these games if you're going to progress in the league. So I'm happy with that. Scrappy goal or non-scrappy goal. We won a cup final with a scrappy goal, so I don't particularly care. And also the point I made was, I think it's no one's singing around here. I said, well, if we'd have beaten Arsenal 1-0 like that last night, everyone would have been singing. So, that's what it was. But the tackles, the one thing I can't fault with this team at the moment is they're what they all put in, and that includes the tackles that they win. You can't fault their attitude. I agree with Luke there. It's. I think Thomas Frank in early interviews has said that. Yeah, you build the defence first. That's where you make the old cliche of the building foundations of a building. And I think that seems to be working. We seem to be a lot solid. The one thing I have noticed is I think he tends to go for the old "we'll take what we've got" quite sort of early. And I think that was with bringing Paulinho on, who definitely solidified, which I couldn't say it last night for some reason, definitely solidified the team. And we look pretty comfortable. But at 1-0, you're always, subject to that penalty or that wonder goal that, they haven't had a touch all night and they have a wonder goal. And I think when they got the free kick, I think someone said that, you watch Thomas Partey take this and score, because to be fair, the loudest noise of the night was when Thomas Partey came on.
And the crowd was singing "You should be in jail" and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of banter going on at the stadium.
Yeah. I was like, and I was joining in. I have to admit, but yeah, it was a. I think this is something that I think he's an intelligent man. He obviously does a lot on tacticals and that sort of thing. And he'll know that we need to be more creative, and I think he'll look at that. And I think as the season goes on, I think that'll start.
Well, we'll come to that as well. We'll come to that. Yeah, Kev. I mean, take what we've got. Yeah, I mean, under Conte and Mourinho, we took what we got before we got it, didn't we? I mean,
yeah, a bit like that. The thing that jumped out at me though last night was Villarreal. They came with the plan. Their plan. They stood off us in the first half completely. They were completely on the halfway line all the time. Our build-up was slow. I'm sure I'll come on to my favourite slow player later on in the chat. And then in the second half, immediately they were pressing us, And it took us a long time to suddenly adjust to being pressed at the back from having all the time in the world to play out. And
Yeah.
that's when we started making all those mistakes and sloppy passes and things like that, because we were being pressed and we didn't seem to adjust to it at all,
No.
particularly quickly until Paulinho came on, maybe. But it was that was what sort of jumped out at me at the game, is that Villarreal came with that plan, and they were probably undone by their goalkeeper making that strange, error, right at the beginning, because otherwise it looks like they were coming. Right, we're taking to half time, get a 0-0, and then we go for them.
Yeah, I think that's what happened, Luke, wasn't it? I think they thought, okay, we're 1-0 down, we'll ride it out at half time. We won't get a bit too adventurous too early in case they come unstuck. And so they really didn't have much of an option but to come at us in the second half.
Yeah, this new phase is and the new way the Champions League works means that every game's vital. You could if previous to that, you could have, I think it was 2 games where were effectively write-offs. If you'd done all right in the other games, you didn't really need to play them. Whereas this, you could end up needing to win a lot of games, sort of thing. So I think that played a key part in it. And obviously, in terms of us adapting as well, it will come up against a formation that not many teams play anymore in 4-4-2, and it was quite evident it was 4-4-2 at times as well. So you have got opposition players being in positions that they're not normally in when you're coming up against them. So I think that was a little bit of, and as you said, they completely switched, and at the start of that second half, they kind of went, not gung-ho, but they kind of pressed a lot more. So you kind of get settled into a game, I think, especially in Thomas Frank's system. You can imagine everything being quite cool, quite calm, quite composed. You know what's happening, you know where you're going and everything else. And then all of a sudden you got to change your tactics, and everyone's kind of like, oh, what's going on here? This is it's got a little bit crazy. So I think Paulinho came in, done exactly what we've got him for, settled it down, relaxed people, settled down the game, and then we was a bit more professional after that. So I think it's a good win. Listen, it's the Champions League nights. You need to be picking up your wins. You can't win like that every game, but first one, manager's first ever one. I think that was completely, I know they spoke about it like on the coverage. They did speak about it briefly, but manager's first ever European night, but not just that. They're following on from a manager that won a European trophy just the season before. Like it's almost like a bit of European heritage sort of thing. We hadn't lost in a way. I think in 21 home games, we hadn't lost. So I can imagine there was quite a lot of pressure. I think 4 first team was making their debuts in the Champions League as well.
Preps to Frank as well, because you could add to that. That's 4 clean sheets in 4 games. 2 more is better than next season. And we've only conceded 1 goal. And so preps to Frank on that. And also because he's now had to play a game every 3 days. He didn't have to do that with Brentford, unless he was in the League Cup for 1 game or the FA Cup for 1 game or whatever was on a Saturday. So he didn't have to do that. So he's still finding his way. What I liked about him was he actually confessed, didn't he, on record, saying he got things wrong against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And I should have helped the players more. I thought, well done you. Because we all critiqued him. Look, we like the manager. We know he's got more about him. Got a lot more about him to come. We like the manager. But go on, Brad, if you want to comment on that, you can. I want to look at the chat.
Yeah, no, that's true. I was very pleased when I heard him say that, because it shows, one, he's been honest with everybody. Transparency is the new in word. And also that he that he's going to be aware of what needs to be tweaked, what needs to be changed, and that fills me with confidence. And as I say, we lost so many games last season. The first thing you're going to do is try and turn those losses into draws, and we've actually turned those losses into wins at the moment. So yeah, I'm quietly confident. I still think it'll be a transitional season. I still think that we'll win games, we'll lose games, but that's whilst they get used to the systems and the player. I mean, Xavi's had one or 2 training sessions and that, a week's worth of training. Comes back and plays. So yeah, it's going to take time. And I knew that Villarreal would be a difficult game, and I want to win all of it. No matter who we play, I want to win home games. I think that we should, with that crowd behind us, should win home games, no matter who it is. And we beat Villarreal, and I think that's a good win.
Well, unless we're sitting up with the pressmen with a laptop like one of the coaches are getting all the stats, you don't get this. This is sort of like, especially in a game like this, you don't get this, Luke. You don't get this. I mean, most passes VDV 68, right? Who would have thought that? Most touches Pro 86. I see one running charge he made. I thought he was going to cut the player in two when he made that tackle, but he did win the ball.
Yeah, he did one.
Most duels, one Richarlison, 7. Who would have thought that? Everybody was saying how poor it was. Most recoveries VDV. Well, that isn't so much of a surprise. But what's your take on these? These are only stats I've got left anyway that I picked up on.
I think it just shows you how much football's played in the defensive third nowadays. Most passes being your centre back and the most touches being your right back. It's just that's the way football's played. This so often we see all the stats. It's always the CDM or your defenders who have got the most touches and most passes. So, but again, it's kind of like the whole system, the tactics, it's all set out to just be cool, calm, and collected, and that's exactly what we done. As I said, I think it went under the radar a little bit, just how big that was as a game in terms of you lose your first one, and then all of a sudden the next one looks more difficult, and the one after then looks even more difficult, and you're chasing your tail, and you one game in, and everything else. Whereas this just settles everything down, especially with some of the results. Obviously, there's a big teams drew and some have even lost as well. So as I say, I think it's very much I didn't learn anything throughout the whole time that every game we've played this year. I've not learned anything other than I think we're better from set pieces than I thought we'd be. But other than that, we are going to be solid defensively. But I've always felt if we was to be in a defensive unit, which obviously Ange never operated in, that weren't what we brought him in for. In fairness, we wanted to be the complete opposite end of the scale and be so attacking. So I always felt if we went into a sort of defensive system that we'd have a good enough defense to handle that. But then the worry was similar. We said it all last year, even though we was one of the top scorers in the league, it was like this attack needs to go up. We need levels above this. And obviously, as I said, you've got some new players in there gelling. It's maybe a controversial opinion, but I feel like Spence and Xavi being on the same side is not great at this moment in time. I think they both obviously want to come in field a lot, which means we lack that width. I think that's why Savinho was so chased in the summer, because we wanted to make sure that we had the width specifically if Spence is playing. But yeah, it's all about relationship building, and especially you can tell Xavi's the sort of player that he wants to kind of drop his shoulder, do a little outside of the foot pass, and then turn and run and get on the end of it from like a wall pass or a 1-2 and that sort of stuff. So I think all of that's going to come. But yeah, we definitely need to make sure that we're looking a little bit more dangerous in games. I think it'd be interesting to see when we go one down. Obviously, I think we've only done that against Bournemouth, and we've obviously that didn't end well. So I think Thomas Frank being 1-0 up against teams, he's very, very manageable. He's perfect. The team's set up great. It's when we go 1-0 down, for me, that's when have we got enough about us as a team? Have we got enough attacking in threat to be able to go and slice teams open when they're sitting in that sort of low block? But time will tell.
Yeah, Brad, I mean, Luke makes some good points there. I mean, I noticed at the game yesterday, there were periods where our midfield and defence were quite close together, but it looked like a light year to our forwards up front.
Yeah,
and they were playing 4-4-2. They play a counter-attacking style of football, 4-4-2. And by the time our midfielders did get the ball and start running forward, they were closed down. They were closed down very quickly. They did close us down and forced a lot of errors out of us.
Didn't Thomas Frank make some about phase 1 and phase 2 being okay, but it's a phase 3, which I'm presuming is defence, midfield, attack. So yeah, I was watching that. You know, I don't class myself as being an amazing football tactician, but I sort of looked and thought there's a lot of gaps between our midfield and attack. What I think is an interesting statistic there is probably Van der Ven, most recoveries. I think we're going to see a better Van der Ven this season. One, because I think he'll play more games. And two, because I think under Ange's system, it's such a high line, he virtually had to use his pace all the time. But now it seems that he only uses his pace in little bits and pieces because they're playing a little bit further back. I don't know what you guys think of that. I just think we'll see the better of him and that his pace will be more useful because he'll only have to use it in certain amounts. Where I think last season he literally had to rely on his pace the whole season.
Yeah. Kev, I mean, last season I was being a right geek because I was like looking at how many goals we conceded in the right-hand side of the goal and how many goals we conceded in the left, because most of them seem to come on the right-hand side where Romero and Porro were, right? Because we were gung-ho and Porro was always up the field, like, upfield when they break on us or he got slipped inside. He can tackle, he can get stuck in. He seems to be playing a more restrained or constrained under orders game this season. He seems to be playing, it's not charging forwards so much as he was. Yeah. But
well, I think him and Kudus are starting to form a reasonable partnership. He's learning what Kudus likes to do in terms of, and Kudus always seems to have 3 players around him when he's got the ball, and so there should be some gaps there. But and I think so that I think as a partnership that's coming on quite well, and I think it will only get better as well. I agree with Brad about VDV, and we'll see a better VDV this year in a defensive sort of way because he isn't having to strain himself chasing down attackers all the time. Obviously, he had to do it a couple of times last night, and and did it very well. But yeah, most touches Porro. I mean, yeah, and fortunately for us, Porro at least tends to pass to one of our players when he gets it. So that's not so bad. Richarlison was a strange one, wasn't it? I mean, because he seemed to have 2 or 3 players around him every time he got the ball as well, and it wasn't bouncing off him quite as much as it had been in the last game when he didn't play so well. But he still wasn't playing as well as he had earlier in the season. So it's one of those things, isn't it? But yeah, it's I'm sure these stats. I mean, I suspect if the stat had been there, who ran around the most, it would have been Bergvall, wouldn't it? Because he ran his bollocks off for the whole game.
Yeah. So did Sarr in the first half. He was everywhere. Luke, on VDV, the only doubt I had, as it wasn't wishing him any ill because I like the player, was when we play a higher line that suited him, his pace and all that. I was always a little bit concerned that maybe his positional play wouldn't be up to it when we are in a low block. But 4 clean sheets in 5 games, he's doing all right.
My fear was always having a tricky little winger up against him, sort of thing. I know he's quick, but I'm just talking on the half turn. He's 6'4". He's a unit as well. So I think it's when people are in and around him, I sort of imagine sort of your Jermaine Defoe type, just trying to get it on his right foot, and that's where I think that's where we will see how good of a defender he is. Because with all due respect, we didn't see how good he was as a defender last year. We see how quick he was. That was all we see. We didn't see how good he was. So this is a proper defensive setup. So you'll see whether he's a player that's able to deal with that sort of your backs against the wall. Is he been able to? He has, from what I've seen, he's shown me something this season I wasn't sure was there. But yeah, I think that's definitely going to be a key part if we've got backs to the wall and we've got little nippy strikers and wingers that are cutting in and kind of running at him. That's the key part for me to see how good he is. But I think even if that's not a strong part of his game, because like I said, he's 6'4", but heading isn't a strong point of his at all. But I think Frank is definitely the type of character that's going to be able to work on the weaknesses he's got and be able to make sure that they get increased and then therefore it becomes better. But I think specifically with centre backs, it's about partnerships, and I think they just complement each other so well. Van der Ven and Romero, they just complement each other so well. Romero with the aggression and the forward thinking. I think his passing ability is so underrated. I think his passing ability is absolutely superb. And then Van der Ven, I mean, the amount of times where the ball was played over the top last year, and you could just see on a striker's face going, "This is pointless, me running after this, because this guy is so quick." Like it's like when some strikers come up against Van Dijk and they face him up 1-on-1 and they go, "I might as well just pass this because I've got no chance." It's the same thing with Van der Ven. Like as soon as they're played in, they think, "I've got half a chance here," and then they see him coming, they go, "It's just ridiculous. I might as well just stop." So yeah, I think it will be good to see. But I was saying it all last year as well. It's availability for both of them. You can be as good as you like, but if you're only available half the season, it's not enough. Not when you're a centre back pairing. So it'd be crucial to keep both of them fit.
On that, Brad, about the fitness levels, I mean, last year, people were criticising Romero. They're having a go at him because they thought he weren't going to sign a contract. He comes out and says, like, he might be PR and saying it now that he'd never asked to leave anyway, blah, blah, blah. So we don't know if he's just being, politically correct here. But last season, we're going like, oh, he's always injured, he's broken glass, he's fit for Argentina, get rid of him and all that. But last season, he played 4,000 minutes and VDV only played 1,000. No one dipped VDV out. This is the difference between fans like certain players over others.
Yeah, I think in football, you tend to get these conspiracy theories that come out about players with no factual, knowledge about it. It was just, well, he's always playing for Argentina. Well, Argentina play less times than Tottenham do. So, statistically, he's going to be playing more percentage of Argentina games than Tottenham games. But yeah, I think that I actually watched the press conference and it was actually funny to hear the interpreter talking with a Manchester accent or a Northern accent when Romero was talking. But I was actually quite impressed with Romero. I thought he had quite measured answers, and he was given some really tough questions about Daniel Levy and what he'd said in the past. And I thought he handled himself pretty well. And what I think I actually got from it, which I keep hearing from other players, is this family that he talks about, that we're family. Because I think that's very important. And I think the one thing, and I've said this before, the one thing that worried me about sacking Ange and bringing in Thomas Frank was the fact that Ange had got this team spirit, this wonderful team spirit. You can't knock him for that. But Thomas Frank has come in and it's been seamless. The team spirit is still there. So I think, Romero, as he said, he said, he never said he wanted to leave the club. And there's also a lot lost in translation and all this sort of thing. And people will take certain parts of a quote or a conversation and put that to make the headline. We've all seen it before. Context is important. I'm quite impressed with him.
Individual player performances, yeah. I think these four are virtually undroppable now. Kev, we talk about them one at a time. We go around you guys. So, this international games, last night, he scored 4 for Senegal and got an assist, right? He can do no wrong. He stepped up like Bergwell stepped up to the end of last season, isn't he? Because he's turned up with big games, and he scored against Man City, Man United. He scored against big teams. He's not phased at all. And he just, first half, I thought, everyone was crap second half, but first half, I thought he was all over the place, he was running everywhere.
Yeah, he's definitely he's the player who has stepped up most from last season at the moment. Whereas he was perhaps a little bit inconsistent last year, would fade out of games. He's totally involved now, I think, and people are expecting him to make that tackle, make that interception, make that run, and he's come out with goals as well, and there was lots of shoots as he was getting the ball on the edge of the area last night from the crowd and things like that. I think he's, is he undroppable? Probably at the moment. We're probably blessed at the moment with the midfield, and the rotation will be there, and he might drop him out for the Brighton game, probably definitely drop him out for the Doncaster game, but he's definitely, I think, he's the one who's sort of come on the most, I think, and he's showing a more consistent game going forward.
Yeah, he's not a 10 though, Luke, is he? Let's be fair. And like I'm a fan, but I know some fans just think, oh, he just runs about a lot, But...
Yeah,
you need people to run about.
Yeah, I think that was labelled at him last year a little bit, and I think he's got a lot of attributes, and in some games it looks like that's not to a higher standard, and in other games it looks like it is to a higher standard. You mentioned his shooting, his actual long distance shooting is very, very good for a central midfielder. But he's certainly, I think he is a 10 in certain systems in terms of, I said after the Man United game, and I think he played there against PSG. I was going, he's going to play in the 10 against top teams because he is exactly what you don't want to be coming up against. He is an absolute nightmare. He don't stop running. He's got them long legs. He gets the interceptions in where other players don't look like they'll nick the ball when he does, and he'll create that third man in midfield. He's got the running power. He's got the running ability. He just needs to sharpen up in a certain few areas. But I don't think any player is undroppable now under Frank. I generally don't, because I think he's so adaptable that in so many different aspects it will be what we're coming up against. So, for instance, yesterday's midfield, that might not be seen again in for 3-4 weeks, and that might be because actually we need Palhinha to be in there to break it up a bit better, or we look at the profile of the three fullbacks we're talking about, Porro, Spence and Udogie. They offer very different. Obviously, Spence can play both sides. Udogie is very much more of an overlapping one, you would say, by trade. Porro's obviously more of a wing back. So I think that I can see changes taking place where you go, oh, he's been in really good form. Is there a reason to drop him? And it might just be from a setup point of view what he's kind of going with. But I think them two particularly have been on top form. I think it's Bergvall back-to-back man of the matches, I think. Just looks like a good player, looks solid, looks like he's getting better, looks like he's getting more confident. And I like the way he talks as well, holds himself so accountable. I don't know, because obviously you guys were at the game. I don't know if you see the interviews afterwards, but we're sending out 19-year-olds to do media interviews after games. Like these guys are so experienced, even though they've not been playing around so long. They've just got the kind of know-how of being. He's been a wonder kid for a while in Sweden, played first team games there, sort of thing. So yeah, it's really interesting to see. It's just making sure that we rotate at the right time, where people are always on top level, as opposed to keep playing them until they drop their level, and then we're bringing someone else in who might struggle to get up to speed and bits and pieces. So, but VDV and Romero being fit, that for me is key to this season. The others, you can kind of, there's an argument for a few of them, but them two being fit, if you keep them fit and they play most games, we are far a better team with both of them in it than we are without.
Before I come to Brad, Kev, I'll come to you because you're a bit younger than me.
Only just,
yeah. Well, we've seen it before, haven't we? When we've had success and we've won trophies, what belief that gives the team, the players, and they've got that. Then you've broke that mental barrier of winning a trophy, which gives you such confidence. And you see the confidence in Bergvall for 19, as Luke just alluded to. I mean, and Sarr, they just look confident. They just seem to. You get to a stage where I've seen it in the early 80s, I see it in the 70s. I mean, like, you see the team, you think they just believe they're unstoppable virtually. And they seem to dig out a result like yesterday as well when they have to.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, well, I think the early 80s, especially because we were making final after final, weren't we? And challenging at the league and everything else like that. And that sort of, it came from the 81 Cup final, sort of, it bred from there. And we've had a lot of times where we've won one season and gone on to win the next season as well. That's happened quite a bit in our history. So success breeds success, doesn't it? So, and they all want to get another trophy, get that going again. And Bergvall last year came in through necessity, in terms of all the injuries, and then got injured himself, of course. And so, in essence, he's started slowly, but because of his injury, but now he's almost unstoppable. He was all over the place, and he was closing down where Richarlison should have been closing down. I thought, in things, he was further forward than Richarlison on the closing down when we were closing down in the second half, and then he was back in defence, and I wasn't surprised when he was taken off eventually, because he must have been absolutely shattered. But yeah, and I like Bergvall, and I've liked him ever since we bought him. So.
Brad, I don't know what I have a little bit of concern about our shape in midfield. There were times during yesterday's games, I've seen it before, due to being over eager, basically. We find three of our players virtually trying to challenge an opposing player, and there's all that space behind them. It happened on our left in the second half. To see it happened, and I'm thinking, like, where's the discipline? If you've got two as a pivot, and a free roaming number 10, fine. But I mean, I really like Bergvall, but like him all over the show, Sarr all over the show. Where's the discipline?
I'm going to give a politician's answer and answer a different question.
What?
Going back to the team spirit and winners.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be that joke that every player left Tottenham and won something the first season they played or the second season they played. You can't say that anymore because this virtually, apart from Ben Davis, this whole team have literally won something in their first 2 or 3 seasons with Tottenham. So you can't make that comment anymore. So good, we've got that monkey off our back. I just think it's a question in the midfield of finding the right balance of players, and as they learn to play with each other, when one guy goes up, the other one stays back, this sort of thing. I made the comment on Saturday that last season I thought at last with Bergvall we've got a ball carrier. Now we've got loads of ball carriers, so that's going to be quite handy as the season goes on. I'm a massive fan of Bergvall as well. He just seems to have no fear, and I think this season, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that he used to be a little bit in his tackling. He used to be a little bit rash at times.
Yeah,
but I think that seems to have gone. Correct me if I'm wrong. So maybe they've ironed that out as well. But he gets the ball. He's everywhere. He even takes the long throw-ins when Danto's not playing. So I think that sort of it's going to be a balancing act. And we're talking about a team that have played 5 games. So if it's still the same by January, February, well then maybe there's an issue. But at the moment, I don't think it's an issue. I think it's just a question of Frank learning about his players, learning what they can do, what they can't do, improving them, and getting that balance right.
Luke, go for a central ball carrier like a Gascoigne or a Moussa Dembele, because if you can get through the middle, it's the quickest route to the opposing goal, and you can create a few more chances. I mean, I want Simmons in as a 10 if he's playing, not on the wing. I mean, I think he can do an excellent job on the wing. I really do, because I think he's that talented. But I just think it caused chaos in more central.
Yeah, but part of it might be just for him to get a little bit used to the physicality of the Premier League, pushing you out on the wing, getting a bit more understanding of what's required, and then bringing him central. If I can imagine him being in a central area, if he gives the ball away, don't track back as much, then there's a little bit more emphasis on a Frank system where a central player has to kind of be there, whereas you've got a defensive midfielder, you've got a fullback in them position. So, and also, let's be completely honest, we don't have a standout left winger, which is obviously something that we really intended to get this summer. So I think that's a part of this whole jigsaw. And again, what I talk about, where you might have different systems where a player might be looking to play in a certain position, or it might be that we go into a certain formation, etc. So I think he's a good player, Simmons. I think you can already tell that certain players you can just see have played at a good level and just understand the game. Some of his touches, the way he kind of drifts infield, and I'm not saying he's been outstanding, not pretending that, but I think getting the assist in the first game is big. We sound about the trophy thing, it's exactly the same with that. The amount of things we see on social media where a striker don't score in 2-3 games, and all of a sudden it's like he ain't scored, he ain't assisted. You get it in your first game, it just kind of settles everything down a little bit. And again, he's coming in. His best link-up play probably is you would think would probably end up coming with Kudus, and he's a new signing as well. He's trying to still get used to what's a requirement at Spurs and giving the ball at certain times, etc. So, yeah, I think the centre of the pitch we have a lot of depth in terms of we've got a lot of players that are a good level and they've got different profiles, and it's kind of just working out what one fits in. But as I say, I think that a lot of these games we're going into, we're going to look at what the opposition have got, what we've got, what we're able to offer in certain spaces. So, for instance, if you've got Odobert, normally holds the width quite a bit compared to the other wingers who more want to be central. So I think that there will be a constant rotation of things going on, and we need to get used to that as fans. I mean, like Ange got slaughtered for not changing the team that often last year with injuries, etc. But I mean, like Spence, for instance, if Spence gets dropped, I see the amount of people on like X and things like that. Oh, Spence should never be dropped now. If a doggy gets fit, he shouldn't start. And it's like, no, he will do. Like he will. That's the whole thing now. There's not a first 11 because you can't play a first 11 every game. So as long as there's an understanding within the squad and the fan base kind of understand it a little bit more, that like Moani, for instance, when he came on, he looks like he's not played football for a long, long time. And the fans were screaming that he should have started the last game. So we just need to have a bit of understanding. Frank's sensible. He's a sensible man. He's not going to make any stupid decisions. So if a player's not playing, there's probably a reason for it. And we just, we get excited. But we sound about the trophies and sound that players, like when they win a trophy, they kind of want more and want more. If anyone would have said to me last year, Spurs are going to win a trophy, and the next year you're wanting to win one as well, I'd be like, no, I'm all right for 5 years. At least we've got one. I'm sitting there going, we need to win one more. We need another one. We need an FA Cup. We need a Carling Cup. Give me whatever we can. So I'm hoping that kind of just breeds a little bit of confidence, and everyone that kind of comes in, there'll be some rotation here, and we'll go from there.
Right, I'll put your link in here. Like, get over to Spotlight and Spurs with Luke. Good channel, great content. As you can see, if you've been listening, he's very knowledgeable. Right, very good tactically as well. We've been going nearly an hour, so I'm going to plug our channel as well at the same time. Brad, I haven't got your Blue Sofa Songs link up. If you get it, I'll put it in the chat. Right? I've been busy. Like, I'm always busy because the other admins are all gone AWOL. Right. So, for those of you who have not viewed us before on the various platforms, 60 of you viewing us now. On various platforms. Thank you for that. Thank you for your comments in the chat and your support and your questions. Big up to everyone watches on playback. Our shows do go out every Friday, Sunday, on either a Tuesday or Wednesday, probably a Wednesday during the Champions League phase and a Tuesday at 10 o'clock. I usually host this midweek show. Drew Zilla normally hosts Friday, and Ian Meth hosts on a Sunday. And the only time we throw an extra show in is if Spurs make another PR blunder or something else goes on at the club. We get a fairy godmother father come in or whatever and buy the club or something. We'll be live like everyone else will be. So with that, if there is a subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner, we can't see it, the red subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed to the show, to our shows, and you like our content, please give the shows a thumbs up and subscribe in the corner. And with that, I'm going to come back to a bit which Luke sort of alluded to about playing everyone, the reason why. Right, so, yellow cards, we got 4 yesterday. Now, and this also refers to the Premier League as well, but I've got a different yellow card watch for the Premier League as well. Now, in the Champions League, players are suspended after 3 cautions that did not result in a red card, as well as after any subsequent odd number caution, 5th, 7th, 9th. So you get 3, you get a ban. If you haven't got a red, if you get a red, you get a ban anyway. But then after 3 cards, if you then get another couple more, 5th, you get another ban, 7th, another ban, 9th, another ban, which is unlikely, but it's just the way the rules are. And this is why, and just to mention the Premier League, while we are, because we've got a yellow card watch for that somewhere. Just scrolling up. This is us in the Premier League at the moment. Spencer's got 2. You have to get to game 18 without picking up 5. So he's got 14 games if you played them all without picking up another 3 yellow cards. And he's a little bit rash in the tackle. He's the second fastest player at the club, so he should get there first after VDV, right? And this is why when people have said to me, oh, yeah, Gray, get him out on loan, do this, get Son out on loan. We can't afford to loan any of the squad players out. As Luke alludes, we're going to need them all. I can actually see Archie Gray playing, although I want to see him in midfield on a regular basis, because I did when he was at Leeds, watched him, and he bossed up midfield against Chelsea in a cup game, and he played 3 games as a number 10, although he played 33 or something right back out of necessity. But back to Spence and Gray, I can see Gray playing at fullback this season. You've only got Davies as another option, and he's not the quickest now. So I can see Gray getting games. And look, he came in at 18 and 19, and for all the criticism he may get, don't forget, when he first came in, everyone was raving about him because he got injured and Bergvall come in and looked more sexy. People have got short memories. Gray never let us down at left back, right back. Centre back got a bit bullied by Delap at Ipswich. We won that game 4-1. And all right, when against Liverpool, when everyone was crap, he wasn't so hot either. But he hasn't let anyone down. And I can see, I definitely see Archie Gray playing at fullback. Any of you guys on this?
Yeah, I think he's a right back option. I
Mm.
think he's the emergency right back option. I think Spence and Udogie are on the left hand side. I can't see Davies playing that often. I think he's almost like a player coach role. And yeah,
I think it's emergency centre back, Davis. Really, no, just emergency centre back.
Yeah,
you'd think that Gray would get a place in the midfield against Doncaster, wouldn't you? I think. I mean, what I've seen of him, I think he looks a very good player, very good, very confident player.
He had a very good first half. I know we'd won the Europa League, and it was like party time, get the deck chairs out and the cigars out and all that. But in the first half against Brighton home in the last home game after winning the Europa League, I thought he looked good in midfield.
He does. He's a decent player. I think the thing that makes me think that these are decent players is that you forget how old they are. Gray, Bergvall, you think, oh, he's a decent, and you think, oh, he's only 19.
Hasn't quite worked with him, though, to be honest. He's tried Graham Bergvall, hasn't he? Hasn't again? You see, this is a little blending thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
and we're gonna have lots of different blends in midfield, Luke, and we are.
You said about he hasn't let anyone down. I think Spurs have let him down personally. I think that the whole idea around this youth project that you go and you get experienced pros, and then you bring in young players that they can learn from. You go and all the top clubs do it. Liverpool have got the 16-year-old in their squad. They've gone and got their experienced pros that are going to play week in, week out. And then your Bergvall, your Grays, they then learn from Palhinha's off the training pitch. And then during games, they're being coached. There was an interview with Archie Gray last year when he played really solid. And they said, why did you play well? When he went, because Davies was there. Davies basically told me how to play. And that's what you need at the squad, and we've done it completely the wrong way around. We've got all these young players, and then these young players are learning from players like Basuma, who we say shouldn't be in the squad because of his temperament. Like we've let these young players down because we should be bringing in, as I said, we've done it with Palhinha now, but he should have been brought in last year. So I think that Gray is a decent player. I think he needs a loan. He needs to play week in, week out. But we're in a situation where we can't loan him out. So we need to, it's that difficult one where we need to make sure that he's playing enough, because he needs to be playing. If he's not playing, then it's pointless him being here, sort of thing. So, but I can see him being utilised a little bit on the right. I can see him playing in midfield, can see him playing across the back line in certain occasions as well. But as I say, I think we've let down a lot of these young players. Bergvall as well. I think even with Bergvall, some of the times last year, was literally giving him the ball and going, I don't know, you go and do something with it. Like, this is a 19-year-old kid that's been in the country 6 months. Even Tell last year, I cannot believe, and I'll keep going back to this, that he came over and in his third game, he was wheeled out to do an interview after the game. And it's like, this is not only is he on loan here, he's not his first language. He's a 19-year-old kid, and we're rolling him out to do interviews. Like we need to really understand what it's like being a young player and help them develop more, as opposed to just throwing them into the first team and expecting them to swim. It just doesn't work like that.
No.
I'd like to see in a double pivot role, Paulinho and Gray play together, because what you're saying about the experience, I think that could work really well.
Yeah, especially if you're playing like in certain games. Gray's got ability to run as well. Like, I'm not saying he's a forward player or anything like that, but he's got ability to run. So you're not in a situation where if you had like Palhinha and then someone who played like Palhinha, you're like, oh, we don't want to play them two together because you've got nothing going forward then. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think Gray needs to be in and around these experienced players. And Gray's very, from what I can see about his character, he's been brought up in a family of footballers. He seems to be very, very intelligent. He seems to, like, I don't know whether you watch all of the after stuff that Spurs do, but he's kind of the group he hangs around with is Ben Davies. Like, he hangs around with the elder statesman of the group, sort of thing. So you can tell that he's kind of just soaking in all this information all the time. But that's great on a training pitch, but you need to be playing games as well. So I think we've let him down a little bit. The price tag's obviously a big factor as well. It's a massive price tag for a kid who's not played a Premier League minute.
On price tags, I mean, fans get caught up in this, and I do go and try and source things from at least 3 places. I mean, you get told like 40 million and all that, and that's what Brentford wanted to pay, but that was they wanted they didn't want to pay as much up as what Leeds wanted anyway, and then it was a bigger price because it was going to be paid over, say, 5 years, which is the max you can pay up on a player now. Rather than, and then Spurs came in with 25 with a 5 mil option. It was about a 30 mil deal with the add-ons. And
Yeah,
that's
I
if
think
the sources are correct, right? Others are going to say, when you get others who, well, they're having pop at the lounge and a club and everything, all the prices of players are inflated then to reinforce their argument. You know what I mean? But being like, I think it was about 30, to be honest, max.
Yeah, but
that.
I think again, if you would have had an experienced pro in the midfield, if you'd have had Palhinha last year, I don't think people would have criticised Gray signing as much because they'd have been like, okay, well, we've got the guy that's going to be the guy, and then Gray's going to be learning from him. But instead, like for instance, Højbjerg was the one. He was Højbjerg's replacement, and I was going, well, we should be moving on from Højbjerg. We should go and get someone better than him. So Gray's coming in. Oh, great, yeah. I'm not against that. I like that. Let's bring in someone else who's going to be the first team player. You get to the end of the transfer, and you go, oh no, he's the Højbjerg replacement. You're like, whoa, hang on a minute. No, that's not what I was expecting. Like Højbjerg came on and changed the game so often last year because of his experience, because of his know-how, So what did we replace that with? We replaced that with an 18-year-old. So I think that's part of the fans' frustration is that you almost go and sign your Grays once you've got your set team, and then you kind of bring him in to blood him in for him to get experience. You don't sign him to impact that team. So I can understand it, but you're right. Obviously, everyone fits facts and figures for their own narratives. So I do the same thing, I'm sure.
I think Gray also showed that he can play that through ball and that pass. I mean, he did it in a couple of games, and set up Sonny for one of them, didn't he? And he can pick a pass, and I like him. I mean, the versatility he showed really last season was exceptional, and I voted him for my player of the season and the season ticket holders rather than Bergvall, even though I like Bergvall as well. So, but yeah, I think I can see him. He's probably being held back a bit at the moment, and as you say, he needs that person next to him. And yeah, I remember that Davis, the quote about Davis coaching him through the game, and they do need that, the young players. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I'll stay with you, Kev. Let's talk about Jed Spence, because where do you see him? Do you see him as a permanent left back or a right back? Because when he's played on the left against an inverted winger, it's just like playing right back on the other side of the pitch.
I think he's when the first game he played for us, he was right back and everyone was raving. Then he moved across to left back, and I think he's a better left back as a right-footed player than he is a right back.
Is that because you've seen more of him there, though?
Yeah, but no, when he's played on the right, he just doesn't seem to be as progressive on the right. Now, if you ask my son, he used to play left back, and he's a right-footed player, and he was called the best left back in the team that he was playing for, Cheshunt at the time, even though he was right-footed. So I think it works depending on who the winger is against you and which side they're going to go sometimes. But I think Spence is much better on the left than he is on the right. That's just the way I see it.
Right?
Yeah, it surprised me because obviously we bought him as a right back. That's where he had his success at Forest. And yeah, the first few games he played was at right back. I think the game against Southampton last season, his first sort of proper touch was the through ball to Maddison for the 1-0, one goal up. And then he can play left back, and you think, all right, okay, he'll paper over a crack if we need a left back. But now you're thinking, which is the best left back out of him and Udogie, so. Yeah, and he does go down that left, even though he's right-footed. He does cut in, but he does go down the left as well. But yeah,
I think when he isn't a good left back is when he hasn't got a left-footed centre back next to him. So where we suffered last season a little bit is we had right-footed players playing left back and left centre back, and when we were trying to play out, we couldn't play out because no one had a left foot. But when he's got VDV next to him, that gives the versatility, I think, then for the two of them to play around at the back a little bit as well.
I mean, he's selected as a right back for England, wasn't he? He came on as a right back for England. So
on that, I'm coming to Luke on that because I mean his attitude was questioned by Warnock when he was at Middlesbrough. I mean, he's been off to France and and all that. But when he played for Forest in the Cup against Arsenal, he played on the right. He tore up the pieces. He tore Arsenal to pieces. I actually see him as a right back because that's what he is, right? I'm not saying he can't do a very good job, and he may prove. Look, football's made a fool of me enough times in over decades, right? So I could quite easily be proved wrong. But I actually see him as a right back. But there was a little, although I don't want to talk about bleeding transfers now because the window's just closed, they don't stop in the media, do they? There was talk of player I do like at Monaco as a right back, Vanderson. I like that kid. I like him. And he's a tank, right? So if it meant that Jed was going over left and you were bringing in someone who's quality on the right, then yeah. I mean, but at the moment he can do both, but so can Gray. So,
I don't think it matters, does it? I think that's the key thing is that if you've got a fullback that can play both, you don't have to, you want to have a set position, of course you do, but if you're good enough, then and he comes in and does a job in both positions, I think especially in the Premier League, there's a lot of good left, what would be right wingers that cut in on the left, so therefore cutting in on his strong foot. But again, it's exactly what I said earlier, and you mentioned it just now. It's about a team setup, right? If you've got a wide winger, if you've got a winger that's going to stay wide, then the fact Jed Spence comes in field a little bit more doesn't really impact you because you've got the width coming from there. But if you've got Xavi Simons who's constantly coming in field, Spence is the one that needs to then provide the width. And you're right, he does go down it, but you can tell he's not comfortable, and he's not comfortable. That's unfair, but you can tell the left foot is not his strong foot because some of the crosses that are putting in, you can tell he's a little bit hesitant.
And he does want to keep drifting in on the right. This is what I'm saying. And he did it in pre-season games. He was playing left back and ended up in the right wing spot in one game. I see him. He kept drifting over. I
think it definitely depends on. Again, I'll say it. I think in terms of fullback, he's the best defensive fullback we've got. So if you want your fullback to kind of be I wouldn't say defensive is fair in terms of he doesn't sit along the centre backs, but if you want to set up two fullbacks, you want one to just be a winger that's going to run up the pitch, and you've got Jed being there as a bit more defensive cover. I think it's perfect, and I think he probably complements Udogie and Porro perfectly well if he played the other side because it gives them the freedom to do that. But I think it will just be an option. I think if a left back came up, then they'll go and sign him, and Jed Spence will be the backup right back. And I think if a right back come up, then he'll just go over to the left. So I like the balance that he provides with Porro personally. I think that Porro's ball playing ability, the way he's able to clip long balls over the top, the way he's able to kind of cross from deep as well, I think that he gives the freedom for Porro to be a little bit more of kind of just a bit more of a wing back, if you like. And you know that you've got a fullback on the other side that's going to be solid. So I think I can see him having benefits on both sides, but I think in our system with what we've got around us, I think Porro being the right back and him being the left back is the best at this moment in time.
I think
both.
Yeah, I think thinking outside the box for a few seconds, I think it's going to be very handy player having the team for Matthias Tell, because Matthias Tell, like Spence, has been left out of the Champions League team, but Spence came back, got into the knockout stages, was absolutely brilliant. So it shows Matthias Tell that it can happen for him as well. So I think in that sort of respect, it's quite handy having Spence in the team for that sort of thing as well.
Example.
Yeah, example. That's the word. Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting because apart from Maddison, we're going to have a fit squad by November. Even Decky will be back. Dragson's back in the gym training. Decky's in the gym training. Then he's got to drop more people out of the Champions League squad in January, and that's if we don't bring a foreign player in, Luke.
On the weekend, we were missing Gray, Dragusin, Maddison, Kulusevski, Solanke, and Basuma. They weren't in the squad on Sunday.
And you could add, we haven't seen Takai yet.
Takai weren't in it neither. Yeah. So you had 6-7 players that wasn't even in the squad. I know, obviously, during the midweek, Archie Gray came in and that, but there was 6 or 7 that were missing from the squad.
Let me get to the banners, and this is what's going to make it interesting. If we bring in a Savinho or someone in the, if I've still got it, I'll make so many banners. I'll keep generic banners here, like for if questions get raised. So, here we go. 27 guys at the moment. Venom, Kingsky, Austin, Udogi, Spence, Davies, VDV. This is if they're all fit. Cootie, Danso, Paulina, Bentacore, Sal, Simmons, Moani, Kudus, Johnson, Richie, Solanke, Dragerson, Madison, Kulu. I haven't got him twice, have I? No. Basuma, who think his days are numbered unless he shits a miracle. And I'm done with him anyway, right? I know, but people say, well, we might need him. Yeah, we might. Then you got the others are under 21. Bergveld, Gray, Odebert, so on, Takai are under 21. But, you know, Tell and Odebert don't count as homegrown anyway. And neither does Bergveld.
They will next season, won't they, I think.
I haven't looked into that. I'm not sure.
They got a B list, I think, that's the next season.
So, and this is out of a squad of 25. So we're okay because it's not really a squad of 25 because there's 5 players here that are under 21. But I don't think Gray and Bergveld count. So I think that would be 24 or something. I know in January I researched it, and I think you're allowed to bring in 3 players to your Champions League squad in January, right? Only, right? We're not doing that, right? We might. I mean, I think we can only bring in 2. The way this balances out with the under 21s here that don't qualify as homegrown, but they can go on the under 21. They can't. Even Gray and Bergveld can't even go on the under 21 list. I don't think
they can't.
No. Right,
our squad's 22 because we've only got Austin. Yeah. So Basuma's out of it, Dragason's out of it, Madison's out of it, Kulusevski's out of it, and then obviously there was one more that Tell was out of it. So you can make the 3 changes.
Toku's got a bit of an injury, but he's getting over that. So, and we haven't seen him, so we don't know if he'll go on loan. I mean, you're looking. I mean, if you come into the Champions League January, when you put register your squad again with possibly 3 changes, you can sort of see Odebert being left out, so Kerr won't be in it, right? Tell won't be in it again, and if you bring in Savinia, you've got to drop someone else out, and you've got to bring Madison, you've got to bring Kulu in, who counts as, and you can't leave Kulusevski out. He was our best player last year. He played for 40 games before he got injured. Right?
Yeah, I think there'll only be one.
The squad's looking better, guys. It's looking better. It's not. I mean, we haven't. Really, let's talk about something that's bugging me. We got no marksmen in this team. What's their forward line? Kev, where are we getting the goals from?
Yeah, I don't know at the moment. It seemed to start off okay on some crossing, but the centre forwards aren't there at the moment, really, are they? Because Richie, he scored a couple of good goals in that game. He didn't really get any service in other games, and I think that's part of the problem. Are we getting the ball across into the centre enough for these players to hit it? Obviously, we haven't seen Solanke really this season either yet. So, I think it goes back to what we were saying earlier. There's still some gelling going on between, and especially in the front line. The backs, they've been playing together for a season or more now. The midfield were all there last season in the main, the confidence. But it's the players up the front and the links between the midfield up front that are new at the moment. And it's a matter of getting them firing on all cylinders. And as someone else said at the beginning, frankly, starting with the defence and moving his way forward through the team as we go, So I'm sure that it will, we'll get some action from those forwards at some point. Let's just hope it's quick, because if we are dying a little bit on creativity in open play, we are obviously being dangerous from free kicks, corners, even throw-ins now. Which is another one of my bugbears in the last few years. But yeah, getting a good forward. Well, I think it depends, I suppose, where Munai's going to play as well. He drifted out to the left after he'd come on, and we didn't really have anyone in the centre at all after he came on, because he drifted out to the left quite a lot. So yeah, it's going to be getting that balance right again, and getting the creative players to actually create. Kudos has his favoured little flick to go round the player and get the ball across, but not his delivery hasn't always been 100% at the moment. and we do just still seem a little bit shy about putting the ball in the box. To try and create those spaces for the forward players who are in there. So we got to make sure, we are providing, the ammunition for them to be able to, shoot and score those goals.
Brad, I mean, we all like Kudus, but he's got to chip in with goals. That's what he's in the team for as well. It's not all about creating chances. I mean, to win the league, last season I think it was done on 86 goals, which was low, because in Man City won it 7 in the last 11 or 12 seasons or something. And about 2 or 3 of those seasons they scored 100, right? So where we getting 86 goals from? Even the lower score, where are we getting them from?
Well, what we really suffer from is we tend to forget how blessed we were to have Harry Kane and also Sonny, because they would score goals from inside the box, from outside. The one thing that annoys me about yesterday was the lack of shooting from outside the box. I want players to take a little bit of a chance and have to have that go. We might, rather than relying on a striker that gets 20 goals a season, we might have to rely on 2 strikers to get 10 goals each. Maybe that might be the way it goes. So yeah. And also I think we've got in January the option to bring back some players, that are on loan, Lancashire scoring goals. Admittedly, it's for Oxford, in the Championship or League One Championship team. So it's obviously a different kettle of fish in the Premier League and stroke Champions League. But I think we're going to have to rely on a lot of players chipping in with goals rather than the striker that gets you 20, 30 goals a season. But let's face it, when Kane was there, we used to have that, didn't we? 20, 30 goals a season. And he was the one striker that would shoot from outside the box on both feet.
Look, playing wide wings is fine. A trick that's fine if they cut him. But normally, if one of your wingers, it's like playing of overlapping fullbacks as well. If one of your wingers is wide and he's got the ball and he's charging down the byline, he's cutting in or whatever, then a winger on the other side should be coming in. Your number 9 should be in the box, and you should always have a runner from midfield. And the amount of games you see, it's not just Spurs. When they play this horseshoe football, which bores me to death, and because there's no one in the penalty area, or there's one striker marked by 3 people, what do you expect him to do? Unless it's an inch perfect cross and a perfect header or whatever it is, or a perfect shot. It's at the moment he's got. I think Frank will fix it. Maybe a change. He might even tweak the system, a little bit. But
we've been spoiled as fans, and we won't admit it in terms of we don't feel like we're doing it, but subconsciously we are. We've watched Kane for years. We've watched Sonny, who's probably, some would even argue, is a better finisher than Kane. I think ratio-wise, he's one of the best finishers the Premier League's ever seen. So we're used to seeing a chance and seeing a goal. That's what we're used to doing. And half the time, they weren't even chances. They were just unbelievable finishes or whatever. And you subconsciously, you just look at that and then you compare it to what you've seen previously. And none of these players are anywhere near Harry Kane's level, which is absolutely perfectly fine. You can still be a very good player and nowhere near Kane's level because he's ridiculous. But I think that's part of it. But also we have, and this comes from the very top, we have just flipped and flopped between ideas and ways of playing and styles of play so much that we need to find some sort of balance. So obviously you had the Conte, Nuno, Jose era where it was, well, you go back to even Poch. Poch was relentless pressing, young team. Then you go and get Nuno, Mourinho, Conte, who are all very much let's take on pressure, let's sit back, let's play defensive football. Then you go and get Ange because you want to play such attacking football, and you go from one extreme to the other. Then you're now going back to Frank, who's starting with defence first. And it's like, hang on a minute. Like, we need to have some sort of stability here. We need to have some sort of understanding of what's going on. But I think the guys are right in terms of where the goals are coming from. I can't see one player scoring 20. I just can't see it. I think an underrated skill this year will be goals and assists scored by centre-backs. I think if they're fit, yet again, there was a goal and an assist in the last week from one goal from a centre back and an assist from a centre back. You've got the long throws coming in and that sort of thing. So I think it will be shared around. But we definitely, if we're lucky, we could get players that go on streaks in terms of like Odebear might grab two in a week, and then all of a sudden Johnson comes on for him and he grabs his odd goal here and there, and then Richie goes on a bit of a run and scores 5 in 5, and then Solanke comes back. So I think that's all part of it. But yeah, we need to be better in terms of creating chances. That's what we need to do. We can't rely on getting 2 set pieces and scoring. It just can't happen. But that's the area that we lack. Unfortunately, that is the area that we lack. We need a star player in that forward line. Obviously, Xavi Simons coming in, you would hope that helps in creativity wise. You would hope that Kudus is another player that's going to help creativity wise. But we definitely need someone who's going to put the ball in the back of the net. Solanke might do that. If Solanke played a full season in a Frank system, maybe Solanke's a player that would get 15, 16 goals. But we didn't see it last year. Well, obviously he's not fit at this moment in time, so he needs to get fit. And the same with Moani. What do we know? We don't know what we're getting. He got 8 in 16 last year for Juve. Now it could be that he's gone and got a hat trick against the bottom of the table and whatever. It could be that he scored 8 separate games. So there's so many different facets to this. But I think it'll be shared around. I don't think we'll see one player that will be by far and away the top scorer.
Right, we'll go for about another 5 minutes. We'll finish on strikers because Kevin and I mean, we've seen top class strikers at this club. Now, right, Solanke got 15 goals last year, I think, in all competitions that was. Richarlison had a bit of a streak and all that. They give you something, but they are in the team to score goals. Let's be fair about this, right? And they're not a patch. I could name a dozen and more than a dozen strikers in the past that are better than those two. But the game has changed. It has changed. I mean, like most clubs don't have 4 strikers now; they have 2, if that. So, I mean, Solanke might be the solution. He holds the ball better. He's got more instinct in the penalty area than Richarlison's got. Richarlison's more the ball comes to him; he'll get you that weldy like overhead kick or something. But he's not. Even Scarlett's got better instinct in the box than Richarlison's got. If we had to get rid of one of them, it's Richie would go for me as well. I'd be getting rid of Richie and Basuma tomorrow. But, it's only my take. Other people might like those players. I mean, Richie's done okay, but he's not set the world alight, and that's what you want. You want a striker that can make things happen, don't you, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying earlier, they need the ammunition, though, to do that. And I think Simons it will come on, and where Simons I was thinking was doing well was when he cut across the box from the outside, because they were scared to tackle him and block him, but he just couldn't find then that ball through. And Richie, he is a streaky player, isn't he? He will go on these streaks of scoring goals, every game. He did it last season, didn't he? At one point, and he started off with some good goals in this season. He's just sort of seems to have dried up a bit, but it's a difficult one. We've got what we've got, and we've got Solanke injured. Maybe I suspect Scarlett will get a game against Doncaster, won't he? So we might be able to see what he's up to at that point as well. And if he scores, he might be then in for the Wolves game following on from that. So it's a tricky one with the forwards at the moment, because they're the ones that are suffering most, I think, in the system that we're playing at the moment, because they just don't seem to be getting the ball. But that's probably because of the gelling of the new players coming in as well.
Brad?
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what happens when Simons or Xavi. He must be called Xavi, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I think that's what he's
Xavi or Xavi.
Xavi, yeah. When he starts playing regular games as a number 10, whether there's a bit more ammunition for the forwards. Yeah. I think people have been quite too quick to write Solanke off. I mean, he's only had one full season with Tottenham. Let's see where we are at the end of the season, when he's had two seasons under 2 different managers, and see where we are then. But yeah, it's as we've all said, we got so used to Kane that it's a very high bar to fill. So I think we're just going to have to hope that we get contributions from all of our forwards. And going back to shooting as well, I think we've probably got more players now that will probably be willing to take that shot on as well. Especially Savvy as well. I think will be, if the YouTube clips are anything to go by, and I know that they can probably make me look like a world class player, but yeah, but he does have a shot on him. He can do it, and he can do that Sonny curling shot that sort of went out of Son's game a bit in the last couple of seasons of his Tottenham career. But yeah, it's early days. It's early days. Let's see what happens as the season goes on.
It's not just YouTube. I reached out to a Leipzig fan and he came on my channel and we done a review on Xavi Simons and he said that he's got that in the locker. He said he's
Right.
able to do some pot shots from distance, and he said he wouldn't be surprised if he scored a few really good goals this year. So yeah, it's not just YouTube. As you're right, I'm an absolute superstar on YouTube. So
yeah, right, guys. I think that would do it. I've got to do the show Friday and probably the show Sunday as well. If Ian ain't back, I don't know where he is. Yeah, I want to thank the 60 of you that stayed with us on all platforms. Like I said earlier, to those of you who may not have been there then, if you like the content, then please hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner, the red one. We can't see it, but you can. And subscribe to the channel and give the content a thumbs up. Get over to Spotlight on Spurs. I can't find your link. Again, I'll find it in the banners. I'll find it in the private chat probably. Where are we? Comments, where are we? Notes. Oh, there we go. Oh, Brad's there as well. Let's copy his and put his one in.
I'll put one in for my marching band if you want.
And if you want.
Hey, I might need a marching band in the song maybe one day. Who knows?
Yeah, there you go. Well, got me and Tom. So
you can find Brad here at Blue Sofa Songs. He plays the guitar and writes and plays a few songs. Get over there at Blue Sofa Songs, see what he's at.
You
I
can
don't know
also
what you've got going at the moment. Anything?
I'm still on a song at the moment. It's just taking a bit long to do because you can't sit down and think, right, I'm going to write a classic song now. It just doesn't happen that way. So you just have to let things happen quite literally. The magic chord will suddenly appear. Wow, that sounds great. I'm going with that. So yeah, it's a difficult thing. And I've been working in the office for a while. We're back to working from home now, so it's always easier for me to do it when I was working from home. But there's loads of songs on there. There's about 50 songs on there, going back from the days when I basically played live in front of a phone camera to now where I'm using proper software and making videos where I mime to my songs, this sort of thing. So it's all on there. And there's even if you don't know my channel, there's even a Spurs song on there for the Europa League final, because I always said if we got to the final, I'd write a Spurs song, which I did. And luckily, if you look at the words, it actually is timeless now because we did actually win and bring the cup back home. If we hadn't lost, then bring the cup back home would have been lost to history. But luckily, we won, and it's now forever in the historical things of Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, I used to write lyrics back in the day, and I've done a few lyrics because, as you know, I've been doing intros and outros on Suno software, and so I try to bring different intros and outros to our podcasts. There's been a new one at the end as well. I've done rock ones, heavy metal, soul, blues, whatever. They're all there. I think I kept about 21. The rest I've got about 100 in my folder, but some of them not up to standard. Practice makes perfect, they say. So we'll come on to Luke, and then I'll meet you guys in the back room after we play out. You can find Luke here, right? Get over there, guys. Great channel. I love listening to his shows. I mean, great guests on there as well. Good content. They're all well informed over there. Yeah, so get over there and subscribe to Luke. I think he must be about the same size as we are now, and he's been going half the time. So you'll have to tell me his secret, right?
Right. We're very, very lucky. Yeah. Support's been incredible.
I think we all are lucky. I mean, like, we've got good support. We've only been going for 14 months. We're doing quite well, really. I'm well happy, and the other admins are as well. And it's thanks to you guys watching. 50 of you are still watching us on various platforms. We will play you out I will play you out now, and I'll see you guys in the back room.
We are talking till we die. We are talking till we we die, Spurs die hard, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die, Spurs die hard, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die, Spurs die hard, heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die, Spurs die hard, heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die, Spurs die hard, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die, Spurs die hard, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die, Spurs die hard, heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. We are Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die, Spurs die hard, heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. We are Tottenham till we die, we are Tottenham till we die, Spurs die hard,